time to get your coronavirus questions answered.
Dr. Zorba Paster is back with us now. The number to call is 270-9933. And earlier today, we asked for your questions on social media. We'll get to those in just a minute, but we're going to start with the phone. And our first caller is Bob. Hi, Bob. What's your question?
My question is, my wife and I have been very good COVID rule followers, masking up, safe distance, a lot of alone time. And we were shocked to find out we still got the same number of regular colds that we've gotten in previous years. We thought we'd be immune from that.
Yes, it is shocking, isn't it? There are other viruses around, and even though you didn't get COVID, you somehow managed to get a cold from someone else, or you actually are having some sort of an allergic response to your house. Remember, there are viruses, not viruses, but there are molds around the house, and there are other things that you may be allergic to, and these sniffles that you have might actually not be an infection from someone else. Influenza, by the way, has dropped dramatically in our state and dramatically in the country because we are masking up.
Absolutely. Let's turn to Facebook. Deborah writes on Facebook, why can't I have a COVID shot? I'm diabetic. I have stage 4 kidney disease. I've been told I have to wait for the next round. I'm 63.
Right, and the answer is you should be able to get it, but right now the CDC guidelines are 65 and older, and if you're 63, you're not 65 and older, and it really doesn't make sense, but that's the way the guidelines are right now. Talk to your doctor. They might make an exception, especially if you have stage 4 kidney disease or you're on chemotherapy or something such as that, which really puts you at a higher risk.
I hope so. Okay, let's go to Tom. Hi, Tom. What's your question?
I'd like to know why we don't hear more about the ultraviolet light as being a source of decontamination.
Because it doesn't do anything. It actually doesn't decontaminate. It was something that we thought really was very worthwhile back in the 50s and 60s. I remember I worked in a hospital in an operating room, and they would put the ultraviolet lights in the operating room at the end of the day, and it produced ozone, and they thought the ultraviolet light with ozone would do something. But in the end, it doesn't do anything, and that's why we don't use it.
All those phone cleaners and all that stuff that doesn't work?
Yeah.
Really? Okay.
You wish they did. You know what they work? They work to make money for somebody who sells them.
All right, let's go to Mac. Hi, Mac. What's your call? What's your question? Mac, you there?
To set the record straight on this scenario that I'm hearing is that I had coworkers or friends that they already had the coronavirus. They don't need to get the shot. True or false? I say it's false.
It's absolutely false. We have no idea what kind of immunity they had, whether they've had COVID or they haven't COVID. Get your immunization, and that's why we do not test you for COVID beforehand, because we really don't know how much natural COVID actually protects you from giving COVID in the future. So set them straight, get their shots.
Right, Zorba broke the tie there for them. Let's go to RINELLI. I hope I'm saying your name correctly. You're next. What's your question?
My question is, I have COPD and I'm on oxygen, and I have a portable Inogen oxygen that I take out, and I've been doing it for over a year. I mask and everything, but I was just wondering, it's a mini concentrator, but it has an air filtration system. And like if I go somewhere, like I don't go grocery store, I get pickup, but like to the beauty parlor, or I went to get my first vaccine shot, and I'm in there, and I'm wondering, because it's more enclosed, am I defeating the purpose? I have to have it.
No, you would still take your oxygen. You have to have it. I don't think it really increases the risk or decreases the risk at all. And of course, it's important for you to take it so you survive. So the answer is the risk is probably totally neutral. Stay on the oxygen.
All right, let's go to Jan. You're our next caller. Go ahead.
Hi. You mentioned that if you have your vaccines that you don't need to quarantine, and that's good news. But if you had your vaccines and then you get exposed to COVID, should you still go for a COVID test so that you don't carry it to somebody else?
Well, first of all, the recommendation is you don't have to quarantine for 2 weeks. 2 weeks after the second shot, you don't have to quarantine. The recommendation has nothing to do with testing. And the answer is yes, if you come into contact with someone with COVID, I definitely would still get a test, because we don't know whether or not you may still harbor the COVID in your nose. You don't have to quarantine, but it might still be a good idea to get a test. It certainly won't hurt. And right now, that guideline for the CDC came out today. And as you know, things come out every day all the time. It's really the quarantining that's the issue. The test was really not answered by this. I definitely would get tested if I came into contact with somebody I know who had it. But the good idea is I don't have to quarantine afterwards. I'd still wear a mask. I'd still wash my hands. I still would socially distance.
Yeah, it seems like there's new questions every day, and that's why we have you here once a week, Zorba. We'll see you next week.
Take care.
Thank you all for calling in. We'll get to your questions next time.